Good morning, Waller Group agents. Okay, so today we're going to talk about essential dialogues for your sellers and your buyers. So these are some examples that in this market would be really important. We know that sphere of influence and generating business and referrals from your sphere of influence is some of the most profitable points to your business. So let's talk just briefly about some of those things. So for lead generation, email monthly, text or call monthly, speak to your sphere of influence every other month, snail mail every other month. So ask yourself, are you doing that? Which of those things do you need to improve on, and make a commitment right now to having that in place. Lead follow-up. 70% of transactions will result from lead follow-up. Have you followed up with all of your leads in the last 30 days? Now, let's talk about a few call dialogues. For a buyer, I know your lease isn't up until whatever date, but I just saw this for sale by owner and I thought of you. So if you're getting all the for sale by owners in your area, and if you're seeing these new for sale by owners come in on Zillow, then whenever you see something that could be a great house for maybe even someone in your sphere of influence. So there's a lot of transactions I've done over the years to where my friends in my sphere of influence, they weren't even thinking about a move. But yet, because of a life change, because of a change in their family, a large inheritance, a new addition in the family, then I knew that's, statistically, people may not be thinking about a move, but those are triggers that create moves. So if I see something that works, then I would, or that may just prompt that thought in their head, that I may just shoot them that email, hey, I saw this and I thought of you. It just changes their thinking, and sometimes it can make them think in a direction towards moving. Another dialogue: March sales were record-breaking, had record-breaking appreciation, and I'm afraid if we wait until the end of the season, you're going to be paying an extra 20 to X thousand dollars. If you have to quantify, how much more is this going to cost this buyer by waiting until the end of the season? And that's something that you have to break it down into those terms. What will it actually cost them? Maybe even to their monthly payment. If we wait till the end of the season, you may be spending an extra $50 or $100 a month on your payment for nothing. Why don't we look right now? And as far as getting out of your lease, or as far as this objection that why you're waiting, then it may not make sense for you to wait if you look at it from that perspective. And then let's take a look. Another dialogue. If I see something that could be good for you, let's take a look if you have time, or when is the the best time for you to take a look. So you always want to ask that in your initial counseling session, or at some point with your buyer, is when is the best time for you to look? Weekends, afternoons? Do they not care? Maybe they're not lunch people and they like to go look. They'd like to go look on their lunch break. But that's something that's real important for you to know up front. So that way, as you're identifying properties and as you're running across something, then hey, what about noon in next week, or what about noon tomorrow? You can prompt them and you can push them a little bit to setting that appointment, because we know that if we don't have appointments, then we don't have listing agreements, or we don't have offers. So setting that appointment is always just on the tip of your tongue. What are you doing to, whether it's a text or email or phone dialogue, to set that appointment? Seller dialogues. Okay. I just reviewed March sales and noticed your property has probably appreciated, let's say 5 to 7%. Now there again, you need to, by knowing your market and your sub-market, you'll know what this is. But in the last few months, that's a very open-ended, broad, not necessarily open-ended, but it's a very broad statement. So when you say the last few months, you're backing yourself into a wall by have to meet a quarterly statistic, or you're not saying the last year, but in the last few months. And that can create a conversation. And that's what you want to do with your sphere of influence, is just create conversations, engagement around your dialogues that have to do with moving. It's like another dialogue. It's like an auction for homes in your price range. Have you thought about selling, or do you know anyone thinking about selling? So it's like an auction for homes in your price range. Have you thought about selling or moving? So that can create, well, my first question as a homeowner is, well, how's that different? Being an auction, then it could immediately create fear with that seller as well. Then things are happening so quick. What if we have to make a decision really quick? Well, there again, make sure you're mitigating the risk. That's your job as a professional, to reduce the risk and promote or enhance the benefit. In an auction, it puts that seller in the driver's seat. They are able to, they don't have to take a specific offer. They just have the option to. So if you can bring more options than what your competition can do, and test the market, and sometimes test the pricing, then that's something that's really really important. Now, here's the flip side of that, is also under promise, over deliver, right? So the appraisal issue, we're seeing more appraisal issues in the last 4 months, 3 months than I have ever. And it's because we saw in March the prices jump so terribly much. So that works for us and against us. There's a lot of people that are bringing cash to closing. That Don Moore interview last week, I hope you guys watched that I forwarded the email. She said, make sure you're putting more down payment in your offers. When you're writing offers for your buyers, get more down payment. And that, instead of these appraisal contingencies that are written in special provisions. And so make sure you watch that. Make sure you're representing your buyers and your sellers properly. So preparing that seller up front, about the appraisal issue is important as well. Okay, so hopefully those are some good dialogues. Just a few things I wanted to remind you guys of in the Waller Group cost versus value. We talk about this weekly in our management meetings of things that we can add. What can we do to provide more value to you guys? Just like you should be talking to yourselves about what can you do to provide more value to your sellers? What can you do to provide more value to your buyers? And these are your value propositions in your seller's guide, your marketing plan, and in your buyer's guide, your buyer's guarantee. That buyer's guarantee is very, very powerful. Make sure that you're properly explaining it to your buyer, and of course that you're doing it. So let's roll through as far as our value proposition to you guys. So I just want to hit I don't have time to go through all of this, but probably the things that I see not utilized enough that I think our agents should be using more is the conversion. So the conversion seller page and the conversion buyer page. Putting those on Facebook, posting those on Facebook, that's free. It doesn't cost you anything. And those come with your conversion websites. You have a sub website for sellers and you have a sub website for buyers. Take that conversion training and use that. The Waller Group Preferred Vendor Directory, that's so powerful. One-stop shopping is what 85% of the consumers want. And when you have people in your back pocket that they are loyal to the brokerage and they're loyal to you, then you can, many times these contractors will move mountains for us, and they will meet timelines and do things that they won't for just someone that calls them out of Craigslist or Angie's List. And that's where a lot of these buyers and sellers find contractors if you're not making recommendations. So make sure that you're finding out if they need contractors and you're recommending contractors, because that's a big value add. And you always need to be looking for good contractors that they've used in the past that they would recommend as well. The continuing education, the TexasRealEstateInstitute.com, we have the discount code. I think it's about the cheapest education you can get online for MCE. Courier services, $20 point to point. That's fantastic. The premier broker accounts on homes.com, Trulia, Zillow, the back agent. Of course, you guys are familiar with that. The mobile text sign writers in conversion. That is very powerful when someone can send a text message to that sign writer and it notifies you automatically that someone's inquiring on that sign. Then you can immediately call that person in front of that house, explain about other homes that are on the market in the area, what's the competition in the area. They have photos immediately that show up via text message. So make sure your listings have those sign writers on them, because that's a great free tool that conversion provides. The KDNA numbers analyzer. Are you spending your time on dollar income productive activities? Everything that you do through your workday should somewhere fall on that KDNA schedule. So make sure that you're focused on that and you're thinking about that. The 4-page luxury graphics, that's fantastic. The printing and copying services, most brokerages charge for that. Ours are just, I think, second to none. And Jeremy's done a fantastic job on that. And John's going to be doing a great job on that. The moving boxes delivered to the client, the first few hours of the moving services, the List Hub weekly seller activity reports. Make sure that you are sending those to your sellers, the weekly seller activity reports, and you can see where most of the online activity is coming from on your listings. Is it coming from Realtor.com, from Trulia, from Zillow? And it shows them how many inquiries per week or how many hits per week on each of those top sites. And that's important for them to know and for you to know. Listing and buyer escrow facilitation, preferred title and mortgage vendors with best rate guarantees and on-time closing guarantees, the complimentary open house signage, the agent website with your search IDX. So this kind of piggybacks on the conversion, having your own buyer page and your own seller page. Make sure you cut and paste, you use those URLs in your marketing on Facebook and wherever you're marketing your website. Drip and follow-up campaigns that are built in there. Make sure you're customizing those campaigns and conversion. Some of the canned campaigns are not that strong, but you'll want to take advantage of the customization that they offer. The VenueTech divorce and probate listing leads. My gosh, that alone, you guys each should be closing a transaction a quarter at least from probate and divorce leads. Divorces are sometimes the most profitable transactions, and here you get them for free through us. We've subscribed to that, so you get that information for free. I would be door knocking every divorce. I would be sending them a note card, every divorce candidate. I would make sure that I have a buyer, whether it's a letter template or whether you're just door knocking, educating them what the value is of their property and what it's like an auction process right now, what you can do as far as helping them. Where are they moving? Are they going to be moving? Do they know anyone in the area that's thinking about moving? You need to know about all of those in your area. The pre-foreclosure listing leads, that comes from usually the title company. They send those to us. The just sold and normally, and that's coming up anytime. So actually last week, I think is when those were sent out. So the pre-foreclosure leads just come out through a PDF through Roddy Report. The e-campaign, it's a great tool on all of your announcements for open houses, announcements to other agents in the area, and announcements to buyers and sellers on your listings or reductions or open houses. Facebook promoted posts, that's something that you guys need to be doing and paying for, but we've seen that some of the best return on investment is Facebook promoted posts. So promoting your buyer page, promoting your seller valuation page, promoting anything that you have that is going to create engagement. Postcards, just listed, just sold, and then and so that is extremely robust as far as cost versus value. Okay, I'm running behind, so we'll go through our KDNA numbers, and it looks like, wow, looks like Sarah Jones, 14,000 contacts, marketing pieces that she put out last week. I think that was on Facebook, so I think she's been doing a lot of Facebook promoted posts, and those are those numbers that she has, I think, are views. So those are Facebook views in her area. She also attended a social media event last week and met a social event last week, and it met several new prospects. And she'll be hosting a block party similar to American Night Out on May 2nd. So kudos to Sarah for getting engaged in her community, and hosting block parties is a great way to create community engagement. So that's fantastic. Amanda had 10 hours of script practice last week. She had 19 contacts, and she also had 10, let's see, she had one buyer appointment held as well. So good job, Amanda. Nina also, let's see, I'm skipping around. Rupal, looks like a lot of you guys last week spent time on your script practice. So role playing and script practice. So that's good. Justin, 8 hours on that. That's good. Saran, 3 hours on that. And it looks like there were only 2 open houses last week. So Rupal had an open house and Venus had an open house. Guys, that's not going to cut it in this market. You guys need to be having open houses every single week. This is the season. This is the hottest market. that I've ever been in, and we're in one of the hottest seasons of the year. So if you're not having open houses every single week, you're cutting yourself short. Kudos to Rupal and kudos to Venus for hosting those open houses. And it looks like that Rupal had 12 new prospects last week, which was towards the top of the list of new prospects. So obviously a lot of those open house attendees, I'm guessing that some of those were from her open house. So good job. And it looks like Venus had 4 new prospects last week. So those could have been, I'm curious how many of those Venus came from your open house if you had some prospects from your open house. The attendance at these open houses has still been staggering. It's been phenomenal, especially you guys that are promoting your open houses on Facebook and you're inviting the neighbors. So open houses in your geo farm, we're seeing attendance 20 to 30 people per open house. That is 15 contacts an hour, basically. Where else can you make 15 contacts an hour that are face-to-face? And we know that those are the most powerful contacts are face-to-face. So buyers that are going to open houses, no other buyers. Sellers and neighbors that are going to open houses, no other neighbors and sellers. So keep in mind, guys, that's when you want to really leverage the power of the referral and developing those relationships with people that attend your open houses. So that's extremely, extremely powerful. Good job. Okay, Rose and Jesse, looks like you guys had 8 hours of previewing last week. And Sarah put a property under contract last week. Rose and Jesse put a property under contract last week. Corey put a property under contract last week. And Tammy, also, it looks like Tammy's been consistent with her work as well. So glad to have you back, Tammy, from vacation. And it looks like as far as other agent wins last week, Corey has 4 buyer deals and 1 seller deal. And then, of course, put that one under contract. So he'll probably have a lot under contract next week. Anna, she attended another social event, met 2 potential buyers. Rupal open house had 16 people attend her open house and 3 strong buyer candidates. So in 2 hours time to develop 3 strong buyer candidates, where else can you do that? Fantastic job. Barbara Chafin attended a business function, face-to-face contact with 23 attendees. Good job. So group settings, whether they're business functions, whether they're business events in the local chamber of commerce, this is also the event season. So there's so many different events going on. Just myself, it seems like every night there's been something for the last few weeks. And those are all opportunities, 20 to 100, 200 people at events. So make sure that you're leveraging that. How much time are you spending at events and how strategic are you with the people that are attending those events? Nina, closing and a good builder prospect. Jill Bell, open house, picked up 2 new prospects at her open house. Good job. All right, guys and gals, good job. Have a productive week and let me know if I can help you in any way and make a lot of money and enjoy it. Have fun. Thank you.